Hello, everybody. It's very nice to be back to Lille and Nord-Pas-de-Calais and to see all of you again. This is it. 100,000 words, 200 pages, a master plan for a third industrial revolution build out in this beautiful region of northern France. This was a collaborative effort. I want to congratulate President Pécheron and President Verschoor and the whole team here. Here in this region, you mobilized hundreds and hundreds of business leaders, NGOs, university academics, government officials, and you spent an entire year working with our global team to put this document together. This is truly a collaborative joint venture. Oftentimes we talk about collaboration. This is the real thing. It's up on our website in English. It's on your website in French. I was just in China with the Vice Premier, Wang Yang, the new Vice Premier of the Economy. I said, I want you to take a look at what we're doing in northern France. 2 days ago, I was with President Nazarbayev in Kazakhstan. They're hosting the 2017 World Expo. It's the third industrial revolution. And I said, I want you to see what we're doing here in northern France. All over the world, I hope they take a look at this document. And this document has the footprint of all of the talented people in this region who actually put this together. So congratulations. I would like it if someone could get me a glass of water. Still water.
Pur jus de pomme breton.
French Today, this region, Nord-Pas-de-Calais, begins a great journey. Uncharted territory. This is the region that pioneered the first industrial revolution in the 19th century. You helped show Europe the way to a new era in history. The second industrial revolution, you didn't fare so well. You're determined now to make sure that you reinvent this region so again you can be the front line, the frontiers, the pioneers, the trailblazers to introduce a third industrial revolution for northern France. And I suspect this will be a prototype, a flagship for other regions who are developing their own third industrial revolution plans throughout this great country. It is very clear that the second industrial revolution is dying. We can smell it. Fossil fuel energies, nuclear power, these are the energies of the 19th and 20th century. These energies are becoming more expensive. These energies are more volatile on world markets. And now the technologies that accompany these energies, the internal combustion engine, centralized electrification, these are old technologies. They've exhausted their S-curve. They have very little productivity potential left. And we have to remind ourselves also that as our reserves of fossil fuels are depleted, we have a problem. This whole civilization is made out of fossil fuels. We grow our food in petrochemical fertilizers and pesticides. Almost all of our construction materials are made out of fossil fuels. Most of our pharmaceutical products are made out of fossil fuels. Our synthetic fibers made out of fossil fuels. Our power, our transport, our heat, our light, the whole civilization is based on the carbon deposits of the Carboniferous age. And this entire infrastructure is now on life support. It's compounded because now we have a bigger problem. It's not just the problem of employment or new job opportunities or productivity or where northern France fits into the global economy. It's a bigger problem now. Where does the human race fit in on this planet? After 2 centuries of spewing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere and 2 industrial revolutions, the first and second industrial revolutions, we now have a species crisis. We've spewed so much CO2 and methane and nitrous oxide into the atmosphere to make this industrial way of life. We're now in real-time climate change, much faster than any of us projected 10, 15, 20 years ago. I wrote a book in 1980 called Entropy, and we had the first study of climate change. And I have to say that I could not have imagined then that we would see such a dramatic change in the climate of this earth in just 30 years later. What's frightening about climate change, I mentioned it last time, it's worth repeating for those of you who weren't here. What is terrifying about climate change, it changes the hydrological cycle of this earth in a dramatic short period of time of a few decades. This is the watery planet. When we send space probes to other planets, we ask first, is there water? Without water, no life. The ecosystems on this planet have emerged over millions of years based on a certain reliability of water regimes, the hydrological cycle. For every 1 degree that the temperature goes up on this planet because of climate change, the atmosphere is absorbing 7% more precipitation from the ground. The heat forces that precipitation up quicker into the atmosphere. So we have more concentrated precipitation up there. This is completely throwing off the water cycle of the earth. More bitter and longer winter snows, more dramatic spring floods, more prolonged summer droughts, more Category 3, 4, and 5 hurricanes, more glacier melts, more seawater rise. My friends here in northern France, our ecosystems cannot catch up to this. Our ecosystems are destabilizing everywhere in the world. And our scientists now tell us we are in the 6th extinction event on the planet, right now, on our watch. We've had 5 extinction events in 450 million years in the geological record. Every time we had a mass extinction of life, the temperature of the planet shifted, there was a turning point, and we had mass die-out pretty quickly. And each time we had a mass extinction event, the previous 5 times, it took about 10 million years to recover that biodiversity loss. We're there in the 6th extinction event, all the scientific studies confirmed. And we could lose up to 70% of all the species of life on this beautiful little planet in this barren universe by the end of the century, your grandchildren. We're not grasping this. My wife says we're not grasping the enormity of this. There's no guarantee for our species. We're the youngest species in the whole evolutionary scheme. We are the babies here. We've been here about 175,000 years, anatomically modern humans. 99.5% of all the species that have ever been on this earth have come and gone. 99.5%. How do you like those odds? This is hard to say if you're a parent and grandparent, it's hard to listen to it. If you're a young person in your 20s with a new family, it's hard to listen to this. We have to listen to this. It's now up to us, in Nord-Pas-de-Calais and other regions of the world, to rethink the human journey, to reconsider our relationship to our fellow creatures on this planet, and to begin to charter a new course so we can learn to live in a sustainable way on this little planet on the universe. So when we started this master plan, collaboratively with the region, we began with the question, how do the great economic revolutions occur? If we know how they occur, we can get a roadmap for where we need to go. And as you know, the great economic revolutions, at least my thought about it, they occur when new energy regimes emerge. That allows us to create more complex societies. But the complexities that those energy regimes bring out then require new communication revolutions to manage the complexities of the energy regimes. Really, all through history. All through history. When communication revolutions merge, converge, and manage new energy revolutions, they change the economic paradigm. In the 19th century, we went from manual print presses to steam-powered printing. Big leap forward. We could mass produce volumes of print material really cheaply, like the internet does today, low transaction costs. Then the French introduced the public school system to the world, pretty big innovation. And we created a print-literate workforce with the communication skills to manage a very complex, coal-powered, locomotive-driven, steam-powered industrial revolution. We could not have organized coal as an energy resource without a very literate, print-literate workforce. 20th century, another convergence of communication energy, centralized electricity, and really the telephone, later radio and television, became the communication media to manage a more dispersed oil era, with the centerpiece being automobile mobility, suburban construction, and a mass consumer society. We're here this afternoon because that second industrial revolution has peaked, it's matured, it's sunset. We are now on the cusp of a third industrial revolution. We're fortunate. We've had a very powerful new communication energy matrix start to emerge here in Europe. The internet, really quite an extraordinary communication revolution in history. I grew up on centralized communication, one-to-many, top-down, newspapers, radios, books. What's so interesting about the internet, it's not centralized communication, it's completely distributed. It doesn't organize top-down pyramidically, it organizes it collaboratively. It doesn't have vertical integration for economies of scale. It's peer-to-peer lateral power. If we understand this, a communication revolution that's distributed, collaborative, peer-to-peer, laterally scaled power, that is the code for the new paradigm we are going to lay out, all of us together here in North Pas-de-Calais. What is so interesting about this communication revolution is the speed of peer-to-peer lateral power. When millions of little players come together, the speed of change eclipsed by a magnitude centralized institutional power. 1989, if I had said to you that in 2013, 23 years later, 2.5 billion human beings with a cheap cell phone that they give away now, you buy the service, and a cheap computer for $25, a Raspberry computer, 2.5 human beings are sending audio, video, and text. 1 billion young people are on Facebook, the biggest family album in history. 500 million people are gossiping on Twitter 24 hours a day. And several billion people can click onto their cell phone on Google and get the entire knowledge of the world to their fingers in 2 seconds. And we can do this at near zero marginal cost. What would you have said in 1989? That was a year before the web came on. Would you have said that's possible? Done deal. The reason I say this is it shows that the human race is the most social creature. We have a big neocortex. If we get the story and we understand the narrative, we can change the world literally overnight. But this internet communication revolution, which is distributed, collaborative, peer-to-peer, and laterally scaled, is really only half the story. The other half of the story is that this communication revolution, the internet, is now merging with a new energy regime, distributed energies that have to be organized collaboratively, and they scale peer-to-peer lateral power. That's the new communication energy matrix. And from that, We have a plan here to build out a new intelligent infrastructure for a third industrial revolution, first in France, right here, northern France, Calais. What are distributed energies? Well, we know elite energies: coal, oil, shale gas, uranium. They're elite. They're not found in everyone's backyard. They require huge military investments. My lord, France and Germany fought 2 world wars over coal in the Ruhr Valley. Millions of people dead. These old energies require huge geopolitical management, massive capital to organize them from the wellhead to the final end user. These are the most elite, centralized, costly energies we've ever harnessed on this planet. They're sunset. What are distributed energies? They're energies that are found in your backyard. You have all the energy you need when you go home after this conference, all you'll ever need. The sun shines all over the world every day. 45 minutes of sunlight can give us 7 times more power than the world needs. 1/10 of 1% of the sun's heat hitting the earth, if harnessed, gives us more power than our species will ever need to run the global economy. I'm always amused when people say, "You think solar power can get the job done?" Reality check. This planet came from the sun. It's a remnant of the sun. Everything here is from the sun. If the sun can't power our future, we don't have one for life on this earth. The wind blows across the planet 24 hours a day. We harness 20% of that wind. We have enough power 7 times over what the economy will ever need. Underneath the earth, there's the sun. Red hot core, that's the sun. All red hot, right under the earth. All we have to do is drill down, take up that geothermal heat, more energy than we'll ever need. In the rural areas, the biomass, the agricultural and forestry waste can be converted to energy overnight. The coastal regions have the ocean tides and waves coming in every day for energy. Abundance. Abundance. So the European Union's made this commitment, as you know, to a 5-pillar third industrial revolution. It's the formal plan. I would remind the member states that this was endorsed by the European Parliament formally in 2007. It's working its way through the European commissions and agencies, and we have built a 2020 plan, a 2030 plan, and a 2050 plan with consensus from the Council based on these 5 pillars of the third industrial revolution. We're going to build it out here first in France. Pillar 1, 20% renewable energy by 2020. That's a mandate across Europe. It's not a suggestion. We'll get there first here in this region, hopefully in France. But I would welcome every other region to do so as well in France. Pillar 1, we're going to renewable distributed energies. Pillar 2, how do we collect them? We have 1 million buildings in North Pas-de-Calais. You have 1 million buildings. Homes, offices, factories, barns, buildings. The goal in this plan is to first retrofit every single building in this region so we get them more energy efficient because they're leaking a lot of energy. You need insulation, you need to get the windows changed, we need to seal them up so we don't waste energy. Number 2, we're going to convert every building we can in this region to your own green micro power plant. So you collect solar off your roof with thin film and photovoltaics, collect wind off the side of your buildings and your businesses, collect geothermal heat underneath your offices, convert your garbage to energy in your restaurants and your kitchens, etc. Pillar 2 jumpstarts this economy. Retrofitting all these buildings requires energy savings companies in every locality, every community. It requires thousands and thousands of new workers, both in the semi-skilled, skilled, professional jobs. We have to recertify the architects. We have to work with the contractors through the region so that they can retrofit, put in the efficiencies, and help us install the micro power plants. And here's the analogy.